The Hash It Out Show is brought to you by Barreto Home Solutions, Bayou Audio and Video, Hot Works on the North Shore, JFK Martial Arts in Mandeville and Covington, Black Hawk Hauling, Lil Dizzy's Cafe, Wags Food and Culture, Moe's Pizza, The Green Law Firm, Personal Injury Attorney, Drums Earwear.
Hands up, hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. 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 Hands up, hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
Welcome to the Hash It Out Show. I am your host, JB the Sports Guy. Man, we had a jam-packed weekend in that Superdome with 8 state championships for the LHSAA football. I got some good rest on Friday. Sunday. I don't know about these two guys who are joining me that you can find on CrescentCitySports.com. First of all, the one, the only VK Jones. What's up, VK?
What's going on, people? Like, share, tag, and subscribe to the Hash It Out Show on all social media platforms and log on to the hashitoutshow.com. I got a little bit of rest myself, but I've been prepping and preparing for this weekend. It's a huge weekend for me because of the fact that VK Jones is going to be participating in some graduating activities. Yes, I'll be graduating with my bachelor's degree over at Nicholls State University this weekend.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And also, George Peppers. What's up, George Peppers?
Y'all too, God rest. I didn't. I had to kick back on Sunday at 5 o'clock in the morning, make that bag. Go to where I work. What is the old saying? No rest for the weary. I mean, I'll be fine. But VK, personally, congratulations, my friend, in advance of Saturday. A huge, huge day for you. Huge monumental occasion. I am delighted. I know I speak for Jared and everybody else that knows you. We are absolutely thrilled that this is happening to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. And, a big special before we get started any further, big special shout out going to Ken Trahan and Crescent City Sports. They gave me a little tribute during the Oak Grove state championship game versus Haynesville. And they gave me a little tribute before the game started. So I really, really appreciate them for what they did. And I appreciate them so much. And I appreciate all the people who gave me a lot of congratulations about the upcoming event. So, hey, it's synced in now. 'Cause I had a lot of business, a lot of things to take care of last week. I was a little stressed. The weekend of the Dome was really refreshing, regardless of what our picks were. But going to
Oh,
just say it. But going to Thibodeau,
you're right.
yeah. Going to Thibodeau Monday, and getting the cap and gown and all that stuff and everything, it just really, really synced in that this is grad week for me. So I'm really humbled and really, really happy that this is coming up.
All right. I gotta stop George from giving VK the flow. Take 20 minutes. but thinking Ken Trahan is going at that. But anyway, we gotta
Yeah,
we got
I know you mess with me. I know. It's all good.
we have Coach Joe Spatafora, the head coach of the Union Parish Farmers, joining us at 8 o'clock tonight. Going to talk about his big victory on getting that state championship over St. James, and we're going to talk about the football state championships. But I want to say something before we go. The first thing I said was I got some rest on Sunday. Let me tell you about VK Jones here. Mr. VK Jones, right quick, ladies and gentlemen. So we leaving the dome Friday. It's close to probably midnight. VK Jones, you know what he says? Now we gotta be back in the dome around 10:30. You know what VK Jones says? Let's go get
Oh
some
no.
breakfast tomorrow morning. I say, what time, VK? VK goes 8 o'clock, 8:30. And I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't know about that. But I ain't say nothing. My man VK was trying to go to another broken egg. Now y'all know another broken egg on a Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, 8:30, you waiting in line. Y'all know this. Then he changed his mind to Dot's Diner. I went home and slept. I text VK when I got home and said I better make it. I was so tired, man. And the experience of working with the media at the Dome and seeing all the football games is one I will never forget. I want to say thank you to Ken Trahan for giving me the opportunity to actually call a game at highschoolsports.com. But VK, you wanted that food Saturday morning, huh, VK?
Well, this is what I learned because we invited a couple people. It was George Pepper's idea. We usually do a little something on that Saturday morning before we go to the dome. But I invited more than Jared. But I learned more than anything else that, and I hate to say it, black folks don't get up early, especially older black folks. When we tired, we cherish our sleep.
Oh,
There he
Not
go.
saying it in a bad way. We cherish our sleep. And people talk about breakfast. You're talking about 10 a.m., 10:30 or 11, not no 8, 9 o'clock. So when I realized
What
that
time y'all went eat?
we ate, we got there around 9 o'clock, about 9:15 we got there. We me and George and Emmanuel got there at the same time. Eric, Eric Brown was out of it. And huh?
snoozing. He was
Yeah, he was
snoozing.
snoozing and then Lamar Gafford, he was kind of recovering himself. So it's not a surprise. Like I said, black folks like to cherish their sleep, especially on a weekend on vacation. So, hey,
Two things. Two
Black folks
things.
cherish their sleep. I
First, I see Jordan's comment, and look, man, it was great to meet you finally, well, the three of us, and we had some great conversations this weekend amongst the 8 games that we had. Um, Meeting you and Mr. Gary Swallow, and you guys do a tremendous job with Under the Lights. Congratulations on a great season by you guys. I'm sure we're looking forward to working with you at some point next season. The second thing, and this is for you, Jared. First time in the dome as a member of the media, part of the broadcast of the Opelousas and Cecilia game, and I meant everything I told you Friday, and I'm going to tell you now on air. You did a tremendous job, my
thank you,
friend.
man.
It was an honor. It was me, you, and Emmanuel, and we had it rolled, man. We smoked that broadcast. The game wasn't great, but the fact that that it was your first time could have been one of those where maybe some skips and whatnot, but you were tremendous, man. I gotta say that to you, VK. You did great on your broadcasts, and man, none of us is gonna match VK Jones' enthusiasm. We are distant. That man, when he gets into a game, he gets into a game. We do too, but he's just next level when it comes to that. VK, you did it. All three of us at some point did great work this weekend. And it was great to be with y'all, and we can't have to mention the records. I mean, 2-6 ain't nothing to brag about,
Yeah, we'll
but
get to
that
that
was the
later
best
on.
record of the
We'll get to that
weekend.
later on.
Yeah, we will much later, much later. But no, it was great, and much later. This is one of those words, later rather than soon. Oh yeah, Jim, you're right about that, GJ. You ain't lying. I didn't think about that.
Yes.
I did not think about that. I mean, throw the towel. There was only one game you could have thrown the towel in, right? Of the weekend. That was Oak Grove and
Yes.
Haynesville.
Catholic and
What's
Acadiana.
the other one?
Yep. That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Catholic. Once, once they, but we'll talk about that later. The only thing I wanted to be this weekend was Shohei Ohtani's agent.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
700 million. Yeah,
Yeah.
700 mil for 10 years. Yes, sir.
All right. Let's get started on some of these games. And the ones I want to start off with, and I'm gonna put them all together. River Parishes. That's where I'm going with this.
Mm.
Mm.
Last year, Destrehan, Lutcher, St. Charles, 3-0. This year, St. Charles, St. James, Riverside, 0-3. In a year's time, we flipped the results. And the crazy thing is this, that we all can sit here and say River Parishes can easily have 3 championships. We can sit here and say that. I'm talking about Riverside taking the lead and having the lead in the fourth quarter, and then um, who did they play again?
Southern Lab.
Southern Lab.
Southern Lab coming back in the fourth quarter to win the game. You sit here and say St. James coming back and taking the lead, and then Union Parish scores with seconds remaining and goes for 2, and they win the game. St. Charles leading by 15. Calvary Baptist scores. It's 28-26 with 2 minutes and 47 seconds left. St. Charles goes for it on a 4th-and-1 at the 50-yard line and gets stuffed. And Calvary Baptist scores a touchdown and wins the state championship. VK, these events that happen, I don't know, it's just some voodoo stuff that happened to these St. Charles schools this year. But man, not one championship for St. Charles. Not St. Charles, excuse me. River Parishes. Not one championship for the River Parishes at all.
Well, it just says a lot that this is kind of a down year in Southeast Louisiana. A big down year. No New Orleans teams. You had 3 River Parish teams representing. So close. And then they just come up short on the end. More than anything else, you can say from that end, you could flip to it to the big comeback for North Louisiana, 4 state championships. That was the first time in almost a whole decade and a half that North Louisiana has triumphed like they did. It's been a long time. But man, I mean, the weekend it was, Riverside had a chance, but we seen, and me and George has seen the Southern Lab team. This team refuses to die. Refuses to die. And they did it again. And they some way somehow came back. And that was a game full of runs in itself, and probably one of the best games of the weekend in itself, because the fact of the matter is how that game set the tone for the weekend. And on top of that, it was like a basketball game, a bunch of runs from both teams,
Mhm.
but Southern Lab came up big at the end. For St. James, I mean, bro, they had the chance to possibly put the game away. You know what I'm saying? They decided to go ahead and punt the football and, instead of going for it. And then all of a sudden, 2 huge pass plays for Union, setting them up for the touchdown and the 2-point conversion at the end, which was maybe one of the gutsiest calls of the weekend. And you're thinking more than anything else, and I'm not surprised it was going for 2, but the play call, it kind of didn't surprise me. Will they bootleg it, or will they go bread and butter like they did in the first half on a 4th-and-2? They went with the bread and butter, and boom, got up in there. And DJ 13, you're right. Union was overdue. They've been in the state title game, and they have not had pretty good showings in itself. But for them to redeem themselves the way they did, big ups to the coach Spatafora and his squad. But with
George,
St. Charles at the end in that game, St. Charles, Calvary was 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 a very good ball game, but St. Charles had control of it the majority of the game. Calvary was coming back and everything else. And the one play kind of changed that fourth down play. And me and Gary, and I think both of y'all kind of disagree with me. But for
Oh,
me,
hell yeah, we
yeah,
disagree.
y'all disagree with me. Y'all
Hell yeah.
disagree with me. Y'all disagree with me. But at the same time, there's a couple people that did agree. One of them was Garrett Salute. He said,
Bobby, Bobby,
if
Bobby,
your
Bobby.
defense is that tired, go for it in the game because the other team does not have a timeout. And guess what? They can't stop the clock anymore. So the thing was, but me and Gary made a great point. Wasn't the right play call. Right decision, not the right play call. I
Don't believe
thought
it.
on the play they was trying to get them on sides, and I thought that St. Charles was going to call a timeout and
They
reset
had a
things.
miscommunication on what the play was. You saw the quarterback turn
Yeah,
and he looked lost.
exactly the point. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm thinking at first. The way they were shifting, I was thinking they're gonna go and probably get them all, try to get them outside. They don't call a timeout, reset, and just try to see what we're gonna do next if they go for it again. But at the same time, I know y'all disagree, but I'm sorry. When your defense is that tired in the ball game,
Wrong.
what do you say?
I said wrong. But go ahead.
Wait, what you
I'm gonna
mean?
get George in here in a
You
second. Go
you
ahead.
you can say I'm wrong. It don't matter. This was hash I was about. But plain and simple, that last drive, I done seen too many games when a defense like that gives up yards like that on a drive. That is a sign that a defense is getting real tired. You got to understand if your team is getting fatigued, you better do what you can to not get them back on that field. Just saying. But
George Peppers,
regardless of
get you.
fact, great ending.
Well, where do I start? Because Jared and I are in lockstep on this whole thing. In lockstep, 100%. Two things. I think Calvary's pace in that fourth quarter started to wear on St. Charles's defense. I can get that. I get that. But let's use a little common math. Did they teach that at St. Aug? If they didn't, I'm about to educate you. First of all, you got it 4th and 6 inches from the midfield stripe. Take the penalty, punt the ball, make Cavalry drive 80, maybe 85 yards, force them to drive the length of the field with one timeout, by the way. They had one timeout at their
Less
disposal
than 50
at
seconds.
the end. And exactly, do you think your defense is that messy to give up an 80-yard drive in 50 seconds? Come on, man. St. Charles has got a lot of grit and heart. I'll say this, right, and I love Wayne Stein to death, but he flat blew that game. Flat blew it completely. If you punt this ball, I'm not guaranteeing St. Charles wins. I think Cavalry would have obviously had a little bit of a drive because they could throw it. But your man, the running back, Cavalry's running back, was doing a lot of work Saturday mixing. I mean, that dude, good lord, that guy, what did he get? 136 yards, I think, and three
191.
touchdowns,
191.
191. But flashing back to the River Parishes and the struggles they had this weekend, the other ones, St. James and Union. And I remember Jared and I were on the Union sideline uh, before their well, for the second half. We had spoke with Jordan Taylor and Gary Swallow at halftime. We were just talking and was like, what do we expect? Well, we get to the sideline. Union Parish gets the ball, and I remember turning to you, Jared, and saying, if they, and Travion Holly was standing right next to
Yeah,
us when I
right
said
there.
it to you.
Yep.
He was standing right there. I told Jared, I said, dude, my friend, listen, if they get this, I'm going for two. And I know Spatafora, and I knew he's an aggressive coach. I knew that. It's like they're gonna go for two, and Travion was like, "You're right." And he hurried up and went down with his team. We stayed. When they got the score, I was like, "Here we go." Now St. James can, find something, grow something, and make a stop. So be it. But it didn't happen, and I hated it for Levante Davis. As media members, we're not supposed to play favorites, but Levante is such a good guy. And it would have been really cool to see him. And look, nothing against Union Parish at all,
Mm-mm.
at all. But Levante, he's got a state title with his name on it. It just wasn't meant to be um, Friday. And the Riverside Sunderland game looked like an NBA game. Or the very first game of the day looked like an NBA game. Like you said, VK, completely correct. Um, but the kittens, I think of all the picks I made this weekend, that's the one. There's two I regret, going that on the wrong side, and that was one of them. The other was Opelousas and Sicily, and I remember saying it to Emmanuel and to Jared. I said, I think I made a mistake, picking Cecilia, and nothing against them, but it's just analytically speaking, I was like, man, I got caught up in that offense and not completely forgetting Opelousas' battle in the trenches, and their defense is so good, and boy, Diesel Solari and Corey Broussard had issues against that defense Friday, but it was a great weekend to be, the three of us doing what we do and mingling with the media and contributing in very many facets. It's a heck of a weekend, and we'll do this again next season for sure.
Definitely. So I, I'm sorry, man. Back to the St. Charles game. I It was shocking to have this ball to 50 yard on a 4th and 1, and that they did not punt that ball. They did not pin them deep and have them go down the field with less than 50 seconds remaining on the clock, and Cavalry didn't have a timeout. It was shocking. St. Charles defense stopped the pass pretty well that game. The drive before that Cavalry scored, that was the first time finally that they was able to complete passes. Abram Wardell did not have the type of game he had until that drive in the last drive at the end of the game from the 50 yard line. They were they were stopping the pass. He had a hard time passing the ball, getting it deep down the field. So he scored on the touchdown. Obviously, there was some miscommunication on the defense. The guy was by himself. Less than 50 seconds on the clock. You gotta punt that ball deep and have to go down the field. You have to. Your main issue was stopping James Simon. 191 yards from 30 attempts. That was your main problem. They have no timeouts. Boy, you get a sack, that's 20 seconds off the clock. You put them, what's up, Holden? You put them in perfect field position for them. Because number one, they just needed a field goal to win the game. That was it. So from the 50 yard line to probably to the 30 yard line to get 20 yards, they probably got a kicker that can kick 47 yards or get a little closer. That's why that ball should have been punted. Mainly just to put them
Question.
deep.
One question. Now, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna ask both of y'all. If the punt was made and they drive it, and Calvary goes down that field some way, somehow, and scores the game winner, what would be your words?
Congratulations. Straight up. I'm gonna still
Exactly,
say the right move
exactly.
happened. They put the ball deep. I'm gonna say congratulations. That's it.
You, you know where the opening happened in that game? See, nobody's talking about it, but St. Charles drove down early in that third quarter, and Tyler Miliotto, who's been clutch all year, blows a field goal. I
Yes.
wonder if that
Yes.
was the opening that Calvary needed to get themselves jump started. See, nobody talks about that. It was 28-13 when it happened. That puts them up three scores.
You're exactly
And I
right.
think it would have finished Calvary off. I think
Exactly.
it would have finished off Calvary.
Definitely.
They had a punt. They had a short punt, and St. Charles didn't take advantage. That missed field goal did open things up.
Open the door.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, sir.
So you're right. And I asked that question in the presser because I think that was the key right there. And I'm thinking if St. Charles hits the field goal, they're up almost three scores. They scored a touchdown.
Not 18. They were up 18,
Yep.
VK. They'd have been up
They've been
18.
up
That's three
18. They
scores.
were
You're
three
right.
scores. Touchdown would have really widened it up. So, that was huge for St. Charles to even miss that. I mean, it just really opened some things up for Calvary to get back.
Calvary Baptist didn't quit, and you gotta
They didn't.
congratulate them for their win. Jordy was more mad than the fans. He kept screaming punt. Hey, look, I get it. I get it, Holden. 'Cause I was shocked when he sent his offense back on the field. I was totally shocked.
Uh,
There's a St. Charles
Well,
Catholic parent I know, and he was upset. He said he should have punted the ball. I think majority of us are going to say he should have punted the ball. I know VK and Gary Swallow, they thought differently. Like go for the win and end it right then and there. But man, deep punt.
When you have a chance, I now understand where y'all coming from and whatever. I know you think I'm wrong. It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. But I'm gonna stick with what I'm sticking with.
Yeah,
This happened almost 15 years to the day. Wayne Stein's uncle, Frank Monica, went for a 4th and 1. LaZedrick Thompson, who was injured, and he went up in there and he got it. Now, the play call itself, I do question the play call. The decision was the right decision. The play call could have been a much better play call than it was. Should have been a timeout call. Should have been like, hey,
they did call a
we need
timeout.
to sneak this.
They did call a timeout.
No, they didn't call a timeout. They went away with I'm talking about after the timeout. Call another one if you see how the motion was right there in that play. They went ahead with the play instead of just calling another timeout.
What play they was gonna run?
No, I'm talking about the play itself. Remember, St. Charles had one timeout left. They had one timeout left. So the thing was, remember, one of the receivers went in motion before that play went off. And I'm thinking that St. Charles is trying to get up off sides for a second. So all of a sudden, I'm thinking, with that being said, call another timeout. Just be like, hey, let's run something else because we couldn't get them offside. Let's figure this out. So that's what they should have did.
Maybe they did.
Before they even ran the play.
Maybe they did. But you heard Coach Stein at the press conference. He said there was a miscommunication between the players. What's the quarterback name? Brady St. Pierre, I believe his name is.
Brady St. Pierre.
He even
Yes.
said there was a miscommunication. They said at the press conference. So they were confused about the play that they put in for that play. And you saw it. Brady turned around like to hand it off, and he looked lost. And then he tried to back his way in there, and it didn't happen. It did happen. I know Coach Stein, he said that he felt good about his O-line the whole game, and he had confidence in it. I get that. I just don't think it was the right decision. I think it was the wrong call when your defense had them with 13 points in the fourth quarter. An explosive offense as Calvary Baptist is. They were held to 13 points going into the fourth quarter. You got less than 50 seconds. If you punt the ball, you can hold them. You can hold them. Your defense has done great against the pass.
Except for the last drive.
One drive.
No, it ain't
yes,
just
it
the
is.
fact
One
it's
drive,
no,
man.
no.
The whole
Jared, I didn't see Jared. I didn't see two.
Right in there.
Listen, Jared, I didn't see too many games. Hold on, I didn't see. Hold on, I didn't. No, I get it. I get it. Hold on, Jared.
Two passes that connected.
I didn't see too many games where a defense played too damn good, and all of a sudden, late in the game, there's a score that happens, and all of a sudden,
we lose faith.
Huh?
We lose faith because of that.
What do you mean lose faith? That's common sense. My defense is tired. My defense is tired.
Couldn't stop James Simon.
I'm gonna say this like I
Wardell
said.
Abel didn't get yards passing for the last two drives.
I'm gonna say this like I said about the Saints and Rams. When you see the Saints that damn time giving up points and giving up yards like that, it's almost like, wait a minute, we catch a little fatigue here.
What Saints and Rams game are you talking about? What Saints and Rams are you talking about?
You know which one I'm talking about.
The game decided moment on the pass interference that wasn't called?
You're right. That's it. That's the game.
Oh, Lord.
But thinking about it.
Compare that to this.
I'm comparing that because that same defense gave up too many big plays in the second half.
Man.
Come on, bro. The defense is tired. You know this. I'm wrong. Man. Come on. It ain't about losing faith. It's common sense. Do you want a tired defense back out there?
The defense played well the entire game, especially stopping the pass off of an explosive offense like Calvary Baptist.
Well, look. You make a good point to the fact that they had played good. I didn't see games where defense played good. All of a sudden, late in the game, you have to think that when a defense is on the field a lot, dog, that fatigue kicks in. I'm saying like this, yeah, your defense got to have a chance to make a stop. Yeah, but at the same time, You know what I'm saying? Fatigue is kicked in. Do you
question
make the
for you.
choice of putting your defense back on the field, or do you have a choice of ending the game now? That's what it is. You
Okay,
can't regret some
Darren.
Here's my
decision.
question.
Going
Go
for a
ahead,
fourth one.
George. Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
George.
Go ahead. Go ahead, George.
Sorry, George. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I don't mean to interrupt. I don't raise my
We're gonna
hand.
hash it out.
Okay, I just want to make sure that exactly. But I'll get the tables. Golly, that's a good one. BK, if you're St. Charles and you punt this ball to Calvary, they've got to go the length of the Superdome carpet to win the state championship. If you're St. Charles, you're playing cover two, you're playing prevent, and keeping the ball in front of you, and they have but one time out with 52 seconds
I
to
would
go.
play prevent.
If you don't have faith in your,
I would
huh?
play prevent. But cover two man, I like that.
Prevent, exactly. Keep them in front of you. Keep the dudes in front of you. Tackle them inbounds. It's fundamental football at the end. Granted, they were gassed. Like I said, I think the Cavaliers' pace in that second half started to wear on St. Charles. But you can't sit here with a straight face and tell me that your defense is all of a sudden just going to fold like a cheap suit and give up a 90-yard. Come on, man. Cavalry would have to go the length of the field. You get them in front of you. Simple. You tell your corners, say, man, play deep as you can. Keep that dude in front of you. And safeties come give help. Ball game. Cavalry never gets to the end zone on that. If they get that ball where they're supposed to, they would have never got there. Absolutely not.
Well,
With one timeout,
you couldn't say
so
that about St. James. Gave up that majority of the field, give up the touchdown to Union. With about
that
under 2 minutes
was
left.
okay. You're making a comparison. All right, let me
Make it quick.
address
We got
that.
Coach
Union
Spatafora in the
Parish.
lobby, so make it quick.
Okay. All right, let's get him on then. We'll continue
No,
this afterward.
I want you to go ahead and
Go
answer the
say
question,
say your
BK.
points.
Go
Say
ahead.
your
Yeah.
points, George. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, Mike, you talk about you comparing the Union situation completely different. It was a back and forth football game, defense optional. Let's call it what it was. It's a great effort by both sides. Union Parish just had a little bit more want to late, and they got the job done. But VK, come on, man. The reason we're telling you about the St. Charles thing is that you making them drive the length of the field and keeping your corners at bay and keeping them dudes in front of you. I mean, oh, come on, DJ Burr, are you serious?
All right, guys.
Man, whose side is he
We're gonna
on?
end it
Okay,
right. We're gonna end
let's
this
get him.
conversation right
Yeah,
there.
please.
We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with the head coach of the Union Parish Farmers, Coach Joe Spatafora, right here on the Hash It Out Show.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Daniel Beal, quarterback of the Calicut Bears, the Division I Select State Champion, and you're watching the Hash It Out Show.
Welcome back to the Hash It Out Show. That was the 2-point conversion ran by the Union Parish Farmers to win them the Division III non-select state championship. And we are joined by their head coach, Coach Joe Spatafora. Coach, how you doing? And
Oh,
congratulations.
man, I thank you. Glad to be here with you guys.
Definitely, Coach. Coach, tell us about the decision to go for two, even with St. James calling 2 timeouts.
Man, I'll tell you, I was mentally beat. I was done. I had to end that game right there. And I'm gonna tell you, going in, there was never a doubt in my mind we were gonna make it. So when he called those timeouts, it just gave me more time to get over and hype up my guys. Every time he called timeout, I just go over and tell him, look, guys, we're going to do it. This is the way it's going to end. This is it.
It was the same play. You didn't change the play when they called timeouts.
No, sir. No, sir. Never changed the play. The thing is, we in that power I set, we don't run it a lot, but when we do, where the power back is, we usually run lead. But on that play, it was counter. So both fullback and power back, both field for the pulling guard and tackle. Everybody went with that, and there wasn't nothing but a corner on the backside.
Like George said earlier, it's a back and forth game between your guys and St. James. Was there any type of adjustments that was made at halftime?
Yes, actually, we changed our defense at half. We went from a 4-man to a 30 front, and that's what kind of kept them at bay in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, they started gashing us on that run a little more, so we went back to our 4-man front.
Now, at the press conference, I wanted to bust out laughing so bad, but I had to hold it in. But I want to play this clip because I loved it. I'm going to play it right quick.
All right.
When you have questions, please raise your hand. I'll bring the microphone to you. If you can raise it while one question is being asked, I'll bring it to you while the question is being asked. Coach, I'm going to turn to you for some opening comments.
Okay. I'd like to ask you guys a question. How many of y'all counted us in this year? Not very many of you. But, as I said all year, when you return them hogs up front, that pays dividends. And you saw that at the end of the day as we considered to see through the playoffs.
Oh, I loved it, Coach. I wanted to laugh right then and there when you asked that question. I'm sitting right there in the front. And I'm an honest guy. I had you guys getting to the semifinals, but not to the championship. I didn't, and being honest with you. With that being said, Coach, was there a lot of doubt coming your way when during the season that you guys wouldn't get back, or you just knew with the confidence you have in your guys that you guys were going to be back in the state championship?
Man, I tell you, I just felt good about these guys I was returning, and them having been there for 3 years straight. And, they did, BK, Island, Jamarian, he said it in one of his interviews that they did change a lot. These seniors changed a lot of stuff. And I go with what my seniors want. They want somebody off the team. Guess what? He's going off the team. They want to change this, then that thing's changed. Whatever uniform they want to wear on Friday, that's what we wear. And I listen to my guys, and that's a big part of it. They trust in me that they can talk to me about anything and tell me and come to me about anything, and I do the same with them. But I really didn't. Even though losing those 4 games, my kids fought. They fought all 4 quarters, and I knew right there I had something.
Before I pass it on to VK, and I didn't even know about this, but you could have became the first coach ever to lose 4 straight state championships. I didn't even know that. But on the flip side, your seniors, what was the mindset coming from them to not let this happen? Because if they played on the team since a freshman, here's their 4th time to finally get a championship.
Yeah, these guys, they had that mindset all year. They have they weren't a whole lot of they weren't really talkers. They really were. They didn't get into talking a lot. They got out there and did their jobs. And and thing about them is they still continue to get better every game this year, even as seniors.
Coach Spatafora, man, we appreciate you taking the time out, man. And I want to congratulate you. You've done an unbelievable job since you have taken over the program, since the merger of Union Parish and everything. And I got to tell you, man, job well done, especially on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Get that payoff. No problem. First question. I know people was focused a lot on Jamarian Allen, but you had Hill making some huge plays, taking a lot of pressure on Allen. What you can say about his play on Friday, especially? I mean, that really helped out, and then Allen just took over from there.
He did. That first play that Jordan actually took, that boot, he kept that on his own. That was a counter that was called. He took that on his own and just took it to the house. And, last week in the semis, he had the worst game he's ever played, and he still had a good game. I mean, he fumbled 3 snaps. He lost 1 of them. And that's what I told him after the game. I said, look, you had your worst game, and you still played good, son. But so how good you think you fixing to play in the state championship game? You know, and it's just his second time here as a quarterback. And last year he wasn't happy with the way he performed. And I'm gonna tell you, he really took over. He really took over Friday, no doubt.
Well, it seemed like, looking at that playoff run, it was a really good run for you guys. And it looked like your confidence really rose up from the beginning of that ball game Friday, especially how you guys went to a hostile environment in Gina to get that job done, to get back to the dome, and looked like the way it was looking, y'all guys were ready and prepared against St. James.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, we've played some really good opponents this year, and those environments are fun to play in. You know, the louder the crowd gets, the more I cheer them on to get louder. And and our kids respond well to that, and they like it too. I tell them to use it like it's our crowd. And as long as the other team ain't dancing to their own band, you're in pretty good shape.
Now, taking a look like that two, not just the fact of that 2-point conversion, but it made me think about that late first half, that 4th and 2 and everything else. It seemed like that, how certain coaches sometimes make a little adjustments, make a little this, do something different. You stuck with your bread and butter. And that was something that I really respected, because I'm like, these guys are going to go what they know. And it worked. What you can say, especially the 4th and 2 with that dive, getting that touchdown at the end of the half, and then that 2-point conversion, almost the identical same play.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing. Those guys, I trust those guys. If I didn't, we wouldn't be in that position. I wouldn't put them in that position. But I do, they're special. That old line, I'm going to tell you, they argue with each other every damn play in the huddle. I'm not playing with you. Practice, in a game, everything. But when it comes down to it, they love each other and they enjoy doing their jobs.
Well, I know one thing you added this year. I know you wanted a full game day experience. You decided to bring in the Carol Band to come play at your games and stuff. It was it a little bit your idea, or was it really like the administration, like, hey, let's bring in some music or something?
No, I've always loved the band. And it reminded me back in the quarters, Bogalusa's band gets there. And let me tell you, when they're playing and they started getting something going, that's momentum. That band is energy. And I can go back to 2012, I guess it was. We were playing East Feliciana. They had Kendall Beckwith. The band didn't get there till the 4th quarter. We're up 16-0. The band got there. Those kids started getting loose. They beat us 24-16.
Wow.
But that's just it's fun times, and that's an energy that you can't bring to the game without a good marching band.
Wow, and that's amazing there. I gotta ask you this, man. I've been paying attention a lot, and it seems like every game you have shorts on. Every game. It doesn't matter, it's hot, cold. It's like, this it's your style. I'm thinking in the back of my mind, Coach got to be from Florida or somewhere, man, because I remember the championship in Natchitoches, and you just had a big old long sleeve jacket, and then also you got your shorts.
And I'm gonna tell you, I was freezing. I was freezing my butt off. But my point is, I'm trying to tell those kids it's not cold outside. So I'm gonna tell you, this year, I think it was Bogalusa. Sure, Coach Gruffield's out there. He done overdid me now. He's in shorts and a t-shirt. I'm in shorts and a long sleeve. Then come out at halftime, I'm in shorts, a long sleeve, a jacket, and a toboggan. And Coach is still in his shorts and t-shirt. He wasn't going to let me try to mind play his kids.
Amazing. I'm going to ask you one more thing, and I'm going to pass it to George Peppers with the questions. Talk about how Union Parish came together as a merger formerly of two schools. One of them was Farmerville.
Oh, I'm going to tell you, in 2009 is when I first got Bernice. And Bernice really was our only other football school. And, end up, I think, 8, let's see. So 2008, we go 11-2. We lose to Calvary Baptist in overtime, 36-33. 2009, I return. I get Bernice. I get a running back, which is what I lost. I get a linebacker, is what I lost. And I get the D lineman I lost. I mean, it's perfect. We go right back to quarters, lose to St. Charles that year. So really, Bernice was the biggest one. But here as it's transpired over the last couple of years, it's really been some of the schools that just were basketball schools. I get a lot of players from Marion, Spearsville guys. You know, still getting a lot of those. A lot of those were basketball players too, but they're transitioning into football. So no doubt, it's helped, and it's helped get some different type of athletes here and some linemen as well.
George Peppers.
Coach Spatafora, first off, let me also echo my co-host and congratulating you on a very well-deserved state championship by you guys. It was a show of perseverance and a lot of testament to character and how you guys rallied. Congratulations to you and the school, and also to the fans that showed up. Union Parish brought, honestly, it's a long drive, but man, your fans, your people came a lot on Friday, and it was a heck of an atmosphere.
Yes, sir, they do. We travel well. I tell you, we have a good following, and sometimes they may be a little fair weather, but most of the time they're going to show up.
With that said, let's flash back to the late part of the first half. You're down 20-14. St. James is driving, and it looks like they're going in. They were inside. You're in the red zone. When that interception happened, do you feel like that it completely changed the trajectory of the game? What were your kids' mindset after that happened?
You know, first off, we go to right before that. Jamarian Island had to go out because his helmet come off, and Tamario Billy has to go to running back where he fumbles the pitch.
Yeah.
And they really go down and scoop and score that, but they had a holding penalty, and that's what got them to that drive right there. So. Yeah, but the thing I can say about this defense all year is they've been, but they haven't broke. They always come up with a big turnover when it's needed, and that's one of our goals on the board is no big plays to end the half, no big plays to end of the game. And ultimately, those two plays at the end of the half and the end of the game is, what sealed the deal.
We were standing on the sideline, myself and Jared Boyd, and Travion Holly was standing right by us, and I remember engaging in a short conversation with both of them and saying, in advance of the drive that you got to ultimately win the title, I told Travion and I told Jared, I said, guys, look, if they drive and score, I know Coach Spatafora's passed, he will go for 2 and win this thing. And they're like, man, Travion was in agreement with me and was like, well, I think you're right. At that point, when you got the ball, what did you tell your kids before the drive started?
We're fixing to win this game. That's what I told them all night from the before the game, during every timeout, during halftime, and any point during the game. I told them, look, we're going to win, guys. No matter what happens, we're going to win this game. And I put my faith in them and what we do. And another thing is, I'm blessed, as we all are.
The moment that the clock hit 0, obviously the exhilaration was great. And a lot of frustrations were let loose, weren't they? I mean, 3 consecutive losses coming into this season. You get the win against St. James, a resilient St. James team that really battled the whole way. What was that moment like when that clock hit 0 for you?
It was wonderful. The thing is to see the expression on those young men's faces, to know that they worked their butts off to finish, and they finally finished. And, and they took a little bit of all the 3 years they've been there, this senior group, and took what was good and what was bad, and they weeded it out and kept it in. And I'll tell you, and there's not but I think 12 of them, but those dudes were good leaders.
I'll say this, when that moment hit 0, the first things out of my mouth was well-deserved. I mean, you guys fought all 48 minutes and never gave up in the face of adversity. And St. James, let's talk about them for a second, especially the quarterback, Brandon Williams. It was spectacular. I know you saw them on film. How good was he to you in person?
Much better. I mean, if we're playing tag and it's my 11 on him and we're on a bus, he don't ever get tagged. I mean,
Wow.
that dude there, he's good. I mean, he extends plays. His receivers know where to go. I'm gonna tell you they're special. Their offense is special. There's a lot of teams out there that would have had trouble stopping them.
I completely agree. Saw them earlier this year, but that was another in a game we did. But it's been a couple of days now. You've won the state title. Have you had a chance to breathe and relax yet?
I'm still trying. That's the thing is, don't get me wrong. I feel a lot better than I have the last 3 years going into Tuesday today. But yeah,
Mm.
I'm still trying to relax and just catch up on this mental concussion I have still.
um, your win was part of a great weekend for the northern part of Louisiana. Four state championships were accrued this weekend. Oak Grove, Calvary Baptist, and Ruston. Talk about the strength and the come out party for North Louisiana, the strength of football up there. I think you guys announced yourselves with a huge authority this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. Football around here it is good. You've got a lot of top quality opponents as you do, same as you do down south. There's no doubt. Um, and
Right.
you can tell, going through the season how it's going, how it's progressing. Just like back in the old days when you were in seventh and eighth grade, whoever you were in, that same district, whoever won in those games, you knew they were going to win come district, and how good they were, you knew they were going to win come the playoffs. It's kind of the same thing around here. These guys do a tremendous job, and you got a lot of great coaches and athletes in this area. And my hat's off to all those guys as well.
What, you guys had a little bit of a bump in the road this year, four losses, as you mentioned. When did you feel a turning point to where you felt like, hey, we might just get this title this year? When was that turning point?
Oh, I don't know. I always felt good. Like after week two, week one, matter of fact, we come back against Homer, who's always a good, tough opponent, especially early. Uh, two,
Right.
week two, we got it within a minute. We score, but then we give up a touchdown against Airline the next 5 seconds, to lose the game. And then we're in the game in the fourth, first Captain Shreve, and I just saw my kids never quitting, and that's big. These they fought all 4 quarters, no matter what was happening, no matter what happened throughout the game. There was times we got down by 17 points, and they still got us back in the game and put us in a position to win. And that right there is tough to beat, especially when you figure it out. And it did. It took us a little long to figure out the pieces of the puzzle from what didn't return, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and what to do with some of the playmakers we had on the offensive side of the ball. But ultimately, we figured all that out, and it took those 4 tough losses. I like to try to say that I threw the Wasserman game, so it put me in the 4 seed, right where I wanted to be. But no, them dudes were pretty good. Them dudes showed up, and I'm gonna tell you, they were pretty good as well.
Yeah. And you had a spectacular season. Now you're in a different role coming into 2024. You're now the hunted, not the hunter. Bit of a different thing. As we look ahead to 2024, this will be my last question before I turn it back over to Jared. What is it looking like for the farmers for next year? How much do you lose, and what are you looking forward to for next season?
I lose the smallest guy on the O line. That's it. So I retired all them dudes. Uh, I lose my quarterback and my running back and one of my receivers, and that's it. So offense comes back, and I think they're going to be in pretty good shape. I've got another running back and or a couple of them. One of them's going to be a freshman. He's Trey's youngest brother, and he's not a Holly, but he's special too. And then defensively, I returned Tyquarius Wilson, who's one of the best players defensively, in my opinion, in the state. And I returned most of my defensive line as well.
Coach Spatafora, once again, congratulations, and we thank you for taking time out your schedule to join us. We truly appreciate it.
Man, I'm glad you guys had me. I've enjoyed listening to y'all, and I enjoyed listening to y'all before you ever let me on.
All right, Coach.
All right,
Thank
Coach.
you,
We
Coach. Take
appreciate it.
care.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. That's Coach Spatafora. Some call him Coach Spat. So I'm going to sit here and say this right now. I'm putting Bogalusa in the championship if the format stays the same. Now, if they go to 185, I got to see who's all in there first before I make my decision. But, I mean, guys, we know, not Bogalusa, I'm sorry, Union Parish. Why is Bogalusa on my mind? I don't know. I meant Union Parish. That's what I meant. Union Parish. But,
bad.
yeah, my bad is big time. Sorry, Coach Pat. Union Parish. But, guys, let's talk about it, because we know Union Parish is in the running every year. And we saw Trey Holly wasn't with them, and we probably said, well, no Trey Holly, they might not get to where they want to get to. And we saw the losses early in the year. And then we see they rank number 4 in the power rankings at 6-4, and we like, let's go back and see what they played. And then they went on a good run, beating great teams. And the best game in the dome this year was St. James and Union Parish VK.
Very much agreed on that one, man. I put that. It's hard for me. I'm still gonna say Southern Lebanon Riverside, but that is a very good number 2 because of the fact of the matter is Union Parish, and like I say, this Coach Spat, I give him a lot of props. Union Parish proved me wrong this year. They proved me wrong big time, and especially through the playoff run. I was thinking, I don't know, but when they won at Gina, I was like, they're not coming here for nothing. They're not coming back in the dome for nothing. And and I talked with you, Jared, on the sideline. I'm like, look like Union came to play, and they did.
Oh
They
yeah,
came to play, but not just that, they didn't give up, and they wound up winning the game. I think those guys were determined, and I hate to say it, I think they wanted it more than St. James that day. I think they really wanted it more, just a little bit,
they
because of the
drove
fact of the matter,
down the field that last drive.
exactly,
Drove down the field.
drove down the field. 2 big pass plays really helped them, and they stuck to their bread and butter. That is big for them. And Union Parish, I wouldn't be surprised. They'll be back. They'll be back again hard next year. They'll be back.
I think
Don't be
so.
surprised they'll be back in that dome
Oh no,
because Coach Spat has something good over there, and they're very, very, very consistent. It's just great for Union Parish to finally get over the hump and win their second state championship.
yeah. Coach Spat has been the coach for both the state titles,
Yes.
and he's gotten there. I think this is 5 times he's gotten there. He's won 2. Many coaches don't even get there. Many coaches don't even win more than one. The ones that get there. Look at Coach Hank Tierney. He's been there 6 times, and he
And
only
only
has
one
one state title.
one
One,
state title.
one.
Exactly the
It's
point.
not easy.
No, it's not easy at all. You know what I'm saying? It's really not easy. It's not easy for a lot of coaches, a lot of programs. Some are fortunate to get there in a couple years and they get a title, and some wait a long time. You look at Levanta Davis, it's amazing. He has taken 2 teams to 2 state championship games. Possibly could have won one, but we know down the line he will get one in his mantle because he is that good of a coach. So we'll see what happens with that. But the consistency of that union program, it says a lot, and they're starting to be up there with very, very good North Louisiana programs, and they showed a lot of power this weekend. This past.
GP.
Well, where do we start about that? I want to talk about St. James though, because we talked after the game. We were Jared. We were on our way to the press conference, and we stopped and ran into one of our great fans, and you could see the despondence. I mean, just the natural emotion of the bitter agony of defeat.
Yeah, TC.
And I was like, yeah, TC Messi.
Yeah.
And look, that is a hardworking group. St. James, they were terrific. I know we picked St. James, and this was no disrespect
Oh
intended for
no,
Union
not at
Parish
all.
at
Not
all,
at all.
at all. At all. Um, it was a horrible weekend picking. I mean, just it is what it is. But that said, St. James is going to be in a little bit of a semi transition going into next year. I think they lose too much to make. They're going to lose too much. I don't know if they have that kind of run next year. Maybe 2 years from now, when those kids are a year older, I think they'll be in better shape. But for Union Parish, look, I marvel at the fact that crowd on that side, Jared, you and I were on their sideline in that second half,
Yes.
and that crowd had some energy. They had some pop. And they really, I think, buoyed the Farmers in that second half. And St. James did great things, but Union Parish, I don't want to say they wanted it. I never want to say somebody wanted it more because it kind of starts to make people think, well, maybe they weren't playing good enough or they didn't want it. I think both teams laid it out there. St. James laid it out there on the line, but that being said, Union Parish out executed them. It wasn't out efforted them; they out executed them on that 2-point conversion. And once that moment happened when they won the title, you could feel the elation. Actually, as we were trying to get onto the field, after the ball game, to get the pictures that we were going to get, one of the boosters, I guess, or whatever, she saw me, and I could see her emotion. I was like, man, look at this. I'm thinking to myself, boy, I wish my school would get here because I want to feel that again. But we'll see. But overall, it was a superlative weekend, and I know there were some great individual performances on the weekend. And the question I want to pose to the both of you, I know my answer, and it's very simple: who the best player in the Superdome was this weekend? And my answer is Daniel Beal from Catholic. He destroyed an Acadiana defense that was lit this year. 364, 4 touchdowns. Kids going to UL Lafayette. Y'all got yourselves a winner. Beal, to me, was the best player. And the saddest I feel for is Jawan Johnson, Lafayette Christian.
We'll get to Jawan Johnson in a second because I want to end the show with that game. Yeah, when you think about it, like who was the best player overall? You saw Sam Spiegelman from on 3. He said, um, he said that it was James Simon, and I think James
I
Simon.
can make that argument.
I think it's a good pick, but
Mm-hmm.
man, did we expect Daniel Beal to carve up Acadiana the way that he did? I don't think any of us
No.
expected that. He's a good quarterback, but man, Daniel Beal was lighting him up. I mean, I like to know how many incompletions he had because it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot. So yeah, to me, Daniel Beal number 1. I probably have James Simon number 2. Look, you got Deshaun Ford, Malcolm Rizalvo from Opelousas. You could put them in there. I mean,
Zane Malvo.
I would put Trey Ass Green in there, but I just don't think. I think due to the quarterback play, how could you? I mean, I'm just saying. But definitely Daniel Beal. VK, who you got?
Daniel Beal really had a great ball game and everything, but I put Daniel Beal number 3.
Number 3.
That's
okay.
my number 3. Number 2 would be James Simon.
Okay.
James Simon was unbelievable, but my number 1, Joshua Brantley of Ruston. That is my number 1.
That is a good pick.
I mean, the reason why I put him number 1, he had one of them moments that we wish Jawan Johnson had and he didn't. But he had that game. He had that on my back, boys. I'm gonna carry this thing, Coach. I want the ball. That's why I asked. Coach Jared Ball that question. Whose decision it was? Because Brantley took it to another level. Because we knew that he could run it, but he could throw that thing too. So he made some huge plays, especially in that 4th quarter. And he took it upon himself and he said, on my back, boys, I'm going to do what I can to lead this team to that state championship. And he was a well-deserved MVP. And that's my choice at the top player. Joshua Brantley 1, James Simon 2, Daniel Beal 3. Not knocking him, but Beal had an awesome game.
Yeah, Joshua Brantley is a great pick. I can't disagree with that. I still put Daniel Beal number 1, but Josh Brantley, man, yes sir.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this question to the both of you. Of the 8 games that we saw, the best team of the weekend, who is it and why?
Ooh, good question.
Tough question.
Boy, the best team and why that we saw this weekend. Oh man.
Can I go first?
Yeah, you can go first. Definitely. Go ahead.
Well, if you have the answer, give it to me.
I got it. It's between 2 teams, but I think of one,
Pick
but I
one,
was
sir.
surprised. But I'm gonna pick one. Opelousas.
All right.
How Opelousas really set the tone early, running the ball well and everything else, but not just that, defensively, making things a hard time for Disa Solari and that offense. and it was not easy for them to get any kind of scores or anything else. And they made it hard, hitting them, good tackling overall, good coverage, and then the offense itself. And that offensive line did serious work. And credit Jimmy Zachary for sticking to the game plan. We talked
Mhm.
about this. He kind of didn't stick to it in the first meeting. This time, he said, nah. The one thing Jimmy Zachary told me before the game, shook my hand. He said, I appreciate y'all. We here now. We got to do something with it. And he did. They did something with it, and he had a big old smile on his face the next time I seen him when he was under the dome. But that team all around did unbelievable to step up in a big payback game, Opelousas.
I'm going to stick with Catholic of Baton Rouge. I think Catholic of Baton Rouge was the best overall. I really think so. I don't know if anybody would have been able to stop that offense between Daniel Bill and his receivers and even Barry Remote at running back. I'm going to go with Catholic. I'll probably pick Rustin. Who is that? Who is Tyler Holman? You know what that is?
Who?
Tyler Holman.
I don't know.
Somebody sent out a link to somebody I don't know.
I don't know. I
I
don't see
hope
it
it
on
ain't no
here.
hack.
And he popped in and pop out. Well, we about to he about to end the streak. I don't know who the hell that is, but I'm about to end this stream because I don't know who Tyler Holman is, unless that's somebody with Coach Spat, maybe. I don't know. I don't know who that is. I don't know. It
You know,
popped up Tyler
you
Holman about to come like as a guest. And I'm like, who?
reject.
I don't know.
But you say Baton Rouge Catholic, Jared. I can go with that, but I'm gonna give you the team that to me visually did everything right in their game. VK, you made a good pick with Opelousas. There ain't many teams that stonewall Cecilia, and they did it twice. They lost one of those games, but their O line and Jared, me, you, and Emmanuel had the call of that game on CrescentCitySports.com, and one of the keys we made with pregame and as we were going into the game was the trenches. The O line of Opelousas won a lot of those battles. Defensive line, Solari and Corey Broussard. I don't know if he was 100% because he was a cameo player in that game Friday.
Mm-hmm.
He only had 6 yards on the day. Um, but for me, the best team of the weekend, it's close. I would have Baton Rouge Catholic right there, but Oak Grove. Oak Grove was dominant. Burden of expectation. You blow out this team 63-27 in the regular season. You get them again in the final. And they're like, well, Haynesville's going to going to do better and this and this and this. Oak Grove manhandled them again. 62-36. The only team to break 60 this weekend was them. And I'm not, going to get caught up in the numerics, but offensively, they were proficient, obviously. Defensively, Haynesville was playing. I mean, well, Oak Grove was playing catch up because they caught an offense that was down big and they needed some things to happen, and they just weren't never in it at any point. Somebody here picked Haynesville. Don't want to name names. Um, to me, the Tigers, and look, they lose barely anybody off this roster. They'll be back. That's a team that can very well three-peat next year, regardless of class. If we stay in this format, that's a cinch to win Division Four. Um, but Baton Rouge Catholic, what they did against Acadiana was just criminal. Acadiana's defense is always a fundamentally sound defense, always. But Daniel Beal and the running back for them really carved them up like a Swiss knife. I mean, it's like a hot knife through butter. I forget the running back's name.
Barry Remo.
Barry Remo.
Barry Remo, and they just crushed Acadiana. I mean, it'd be easy to go BRC, but that's the team that accelerated the most in the playoffs, and they really elevated their game. And congratulations to everybody who won this weekend. But for me, it's Oak Grove and BRC a tight 1-2.
All right. Last topic for tonight. Let's get into Division Two Select. Lafayette Christian against St. Thomas More. Lafayette Christian came out swinging 14-0. on STM. STM missed 2 field goals. And the way how the script started off, you would have said STM about to lose this game. And then STM gets a touchdown. Like, okay, they got a touchdown. We knew they were going to score, but LC is in control. And then disaster. Jawan Johnson, who I will still say is the best player in the state, who's up for the Max Preps National Player of the Year, throws a pick six with 2 seconds left on the clock. And to me, that kind of changed everything. But then LCA comes out and takes the lead 21-14. All right, good. Then Carlos O'Brien gets hurt with a dislocated ankle. Then Jalen Noel throws a punch. He gets ejected. And the wheels comes off the bus. STM wins 35-21. Go ahead, VK.
What's the question?
Your thoughts about
my thoughts.
Yes, your thoughts.
You want my thoughts. Okay, because you sounded like you was explaining everything, and all of a sudden at the end you sound like a
your
bitter
thoughts
man.
about the game.
Okay,
I'll come back later. I'll let y'all go.
Okay. Well, I'm like this, man. It was a very early. You look at it, Lafayette Christian had a great start to the game, and all of a sudden here comes STM. But I tell you, that key to the game, the key that changed it was that pick six at the end of the half. My biggest thing was, what are you thinking, Lafayette Christian? Can we get a Hail Mary to the end zone? Something.
That's it?
I mean, the interception itself, and this is what I said. I'm not gonna say exactly what I said, but I'm gonna say it in a family way. They done messed up. And I told that to Jared and George. And the premonition I've been saying was coming to pass. You don't give teams like STM a window. You don't give them life. You gotta keep the foot on the throat, keep it there. You give them life, guess what? You have opened something else up. You have opened Pandora's box. And that's what happened. STM came back. But give credit to Lafayette Christian, took the lead back. The injuries were a little bit too much. And then the defense of STM just took over.
Jalen Noel getting ejected.
Yeah, they did that too. That was big.
But they had to go 5 wide the rest of the time.
Yep. STM took over. The run game was tremendous, especially with Luke Pierre, John-Luc Pierre, who really was a key. They could not hardly stop him all night. They keyed on Swelly, but John-Luc Pierre really stepped up big for STM, and they got it done. It was just a whole big-time mental aspect. And you look at the sideline after that pick six, and the players throwing the helmets
they were defeated.
And all that stuff.
They were defeated.
They felt defeat. They felt defeated. You have to think the mental aspect really kicked in because of the fact that this team owns you. This team has won 3 straight against you. This is your last chance because next season they're going right back to 2A. So this is the last chance to beat Big Brother because right now in that area, STM is Big Brother. So it's your chance to beat them. But with that being said happening, STM coming up big, now won 4 straight over Lafayette Christian and another state championship, the 4th one in the history of STM. That is big for them. And man, I hate for a career like Jawan Johnson and the way he's had that and like that. I really hate that for him. But STM proven why they're the defending champs, and they proven themselves once again.
George Peppers.
Became low-key being a fan right now. Just saying.
Just tell like it is,
being a fan of it. I feel you, baby. I got you. I understand. Listen, I was with you guys for about a little bit close to most all the first quarter and halfway through the second, and I had to bail because I had to host the halftime of that game, St. Thomas More Lafayette Christian. And when they threw the interception, I turned to Lenny Van Gilder and I was like, "Oh, they're done. They are so done." And Emmanuel was right there, and he was like, "You think?" I was like, "Absolutely." I knew at that point St. Thomas More had the measure. 14-14. Why in the whose idea was it to throw that thing on a short route? Throw that thing up in the end zone, and that's your half. If he gets it, wonderful. You tackle him, and that's it. But now it's 14-14 instead of 14-7, and STM's got all the momentum. And then I was coming back downstairs to join you guys, and I heard that somebody had got disqualified. And as I was walking to the field, I heard Jalen Noel. I was like, and I came to you, VK and Jared, and both of you. I said, "Man, that's right about Jalen." They said, "Yeah." And I was on the elevator when it happened, coming down to the field. And I'm like, my goodness, that I think the playbook changed. Even as great as Jawan Johnson is, you know, you got a guy like Jalen Noel who's an integral part of what they do, and he's not there. That offensive game plan completely got simplified, and Jawan, I think they put too much on Jawan Johnson, and after that injury, after that ejection, and then Collins O'Brien, another very pivotal piece for them. Him going out with a dislocated ankle was a sad thing to see in person, and prayers obviously for a speedy recovery for him. But final thoughts on that at 14-14. I knew the outcome was when it was, even though LC went back in front. I kept thinking, I was like, yeah, St. Thomas Moore's got you guys by the you know what. And I was right, 35-21. And Juwan Johnson got hurt at the end, got dinged up at the end of the game. Um, yes, indeed. That's interesting. I'm looking at the chat by Jordan Taylor. A goose egg in a basketball game. That's who'd have heard that. But St. Thomas More, Jim Hightower, congratulations on another state title. Lafayette Christian going to 2A. I want to see if they reunite because I'm going to tell you right now, Lafayette Christian ain't going to be in the Superdome if they do.
Um,
They're not going back.
the press conference. The press conference. Hunter Landry spoke about that play, and he said it was his fault. He said he should have taken a knee and gone into the half. Man, forget taking a knee.
You have the
Just
lead.
Hail Mary it.
You have the lead.
Just
Yeah.
Hail Mary it.
You got the lead
Yeah,
regardless.
just throw the Hail Mary. That's it.
Jeez.
Oh man, now I gotta talk about Jawan Johnson for a second, man, because Jawan Johnson was getting bashed left and right for a couple of his actions.
By who?
Oh, a lot of people, a whole lot of people. So number one,
Oh my goodness.
we're gonna go to the pick first. The pick. He threw the pick, and there were people saying Jawan Johnson didn't even try to go make the tackle. I didn't see it. Jordan said he didn't. Jordan had a great view from where he was. He had a great view. I got the iPad filming, so I couldn't see it. But what we did see was Juwan Johnson fussing with the coaches, waving them off, talking back, and all that. Now, a lot of people were bashing him for that. And I said off the get go, it was a mistake he made. He's a 17-year-old kid. He made a mistake. Emotions ran high because it's his last game. He wants to win a state championship, and he wants to beat that team that he can't beat, that he's never beaten. He made a mistake. Now, we've all made mistakes now, guys. Let's remember this. We've all made mistakes. That's a mistake he made. And I commend Jawan Johnson for coming out on Twitter immediately and apologizing for the actions he made and said he will be better moving on. I commend him for that. The second thing was Jawan did not want to go get the trophy at the end. A coach had to go get him to get it. And he got bashed for that. Oh man, he this and that, acting like a brat. Hold on, guys. Hold on a minute. Was he wrong again? Yes, he was wrong. He's a 17-year-old kid. It's another mistake. He just lost the biggest game in his life, his last football game. Cut him a little slack. Everybody here has all made mistakes, and we learn from our mistakes. Jawan will learn from this mistake. I promise you. I promise you. Let's not condemn him and throw the stones at him if he lived without sin. No, he made a mistake. He's going to live and learn from that. I promise you that. We've all lost in something and got upset and had emotions. Story. I won my first world title in Taekwondo in 1998. It took me 5 years to win number 2. 5 years. In 2002, I lost to somebody I hadn't lost to the entire year. And I knew 2002 was my year. And that ate me deep. I never really cried at losing anything. And I cried that day. That hurt bad because I knew I was the best that year. I came back a year later and won the goddamn thing. I then went 12 years without winning a world title. Now, I didn't cry through those years. I didn't cry. But it did hurt. Because a lot of them, I felt like I was the best. It didn't happen. For Sean came to see me compete in 2019. I was one fight, and that was it. Did I feel like I won that fight? Yeah, I felt like I won it. I did. I go back and watch the tape. I feel like I won it, but guess what? It didn't go my way that day. Stuff happens, guys. That was a 17-year-old kid that made a mistake. As you guys would have saw him at the press conference, he was holding back tears for forever. His eyes were bloodshot red. The kid was hurting. Cut him some slack, y'all. Don't be quick to judge a kid on a mistake that they make. He's going to live. He's going to learn. I'm a big-time Jawan Johnson fan. I am. And I said that he made a mistake when he did both those things. I said it next to Fashawn. He heard me. I said it's a mistake he made. He will be better for it in the long run. He went on Twitter less than 24 hours and put that, realizing he made a mistake and that he need to do better from here on out. Let's not condemn kids immediately. Kids, we're talking about, guys. Kids. VK, you want to respond on that right quick?
Yes, I want to respond to that. The coaching thing, that's the understandability. It's just the fact that everything gets heated on the sideline. Everything gets heated like that. For y'all saying what y'all saying about him not accepting the award, I hate to say this, and I'm going to say this right now. Y'all are pathetic. Pathetic. I'm calling you pathetic for a reason. Because how would it feel if you was on a championship team and you're a senior in your last damn year and you come up short, especially against a team that you can't beat? You would be pissed off too, right? Right? You'd be pissed off too. You wouldn't want to get a trophy. And I forget the trophy. We've seen a lot of emotions over the weekend with these kids. And there's an understandability. Because they gave it all they had. They went out there in that 100-degree heat, sacrificing their time and life to go do what they got to do, prepare for a season to get to this point. Y'all fans need. I'm serious. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it before. I said it before on the BK Jones show. I'm gonna say it again. Y'all need a vacation. Y'all need to go find something to do. Y'all need a life. You need a life, dude. Go do something. Quit criticizing these kids. You know what I'm saying? That's not right, man. These are high schoolers. I can see a college kid. I get it because he's grown. These are not grown men. They'll be grown when they leave out of high school. But right now, he's still there. So you have no right to do what you're doing. That's pathetic. That's Bush League. That's wrong. So plain and simple, let Jawan Johnson live, okay? This dude is amazing. He's had an unbelievable freaking career. It's just too bad it was just maybe just one state title. But at the same time, he has had an unbelievable career at Lafayette Christian, leading them to higher heights that they have ever been as a football program.
They're going to retire his jersey. Now, never will never be worn again. They retired it.
There's see, and that's amazing. Big ups to the Lafayette Christian for doing that. But y'all fans, dog, man, dude, y'all pathetic. Go do something with yourself, please. Go find something to do. Go on vacation, bro. Go do something, bro. Y'all make me sick. I'm sorry.
George Peppers.
Before I respond to that, there's one thing in relation to that game, a pivotal moment. We talked about the interception, but remember what happened prior to it. Juwan Johnson laid a beautiful ball on a dime, and I don't remember who the receiver was. It was in his wheelhouse. I was walking behind the end zone when I saw him running. I was like, oh, that's a beautiful ball. And he dropped it. That was a sure touchdown. It was at the 2 minute mark, 1 minute mark, or something like that, late in that first half. They had a chance to open that lead up. I can't believe I was remiss to not think about that play because that was one of the turning points. But in response to this bashing of Jawan Johnson, I don't know if I want to be as civil as everybody else. Maybe I should. But to those of you that feel the need to bash a 17-year-old, look in the mirror. I'm going to straight tell you, and I would say it to your face to those of you that want to do it. Look in the mirror before you run your mouth about a kid that's trying to make a difference, that's trying to be the best that he can be and be that guy. Jawan Johnson's going to go to LSU. I kind of hope he decommits and goes somewhere he could play quarterback, because I believe he's got even at his height, he throws a beautiful ball. Throws a beautiful ball. And if that statement makes me a hater of LSU, shove it. Shove it. Like legit shove it. But I'm not. Um, but to the people that have bashed him, and I don't know who, I don't know if it was media members or just idiots on Twitter or
Oh,
idiots on social media.
everything I saw from the bashing was on Twitter and Facebook. That's it.
Imagine that.
Some,
Keyboard warriors,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That's where it was from. That's where the bashing was from. Facebook and Twitter. That's
Okay.
it.
Exactly. No, I mean, I am, I don't want to cast a pall over it. And, UNVK says it's a team they can't beat. They just haven't figured out how to beat them. I'm not going to say they can't because they've been competitive every game they played that team. They just haven't figured out how to close the deal. And look, they do go back down to 2A next season. They'll be in the Division 3, I believe, select.
Yeah.
If we stay in this format, then we'll fall down to 3. And St. Charles will take their place in Division 2 because they're going up to the league with Shaw next year. And I hate that we're talking about this, and I hate that we gotta bash people. But sometimes things have to be said. But to Jawan Johnson, I'll say this to you straight up, and I wish I was at that presser Saturday, but I wasn't because remember I had to do the
In between games.
the holdover in between game for in advance of St. Charles and Calvary. So I wasn't able to be at the presser, but I would have told Jawan personally. Personally, I would have walked up and said, "Son, adversity breeds character." It's as simple as that. Whatever obstacles life throws at you, how do you respond? Be the better person. And the thing with the trophy, I get the frustration, but still, man, still go out there and accept it as a thing of pride. You guys fought for it. It wasn't your day. Go get it. It's still something that goes into the school's trophy box. Go get the trophy. I mean, so just adversity breeds character is my thing. I would have told you what. Simple as that.
I'll say this before we get out of here. I think to avoid anybody not going get a trophy, you need to tell your players at the last practice, no matter what happens, you go up and get the trophy. I think that would
Yep.
that would I'm not gonna say end it because you still might have somebody who's
Alleviate it.
but I think it would bring down those chances of that happening with the coaches telling people, you know, to to make sure you go out and get your trophy no matter what. Like I can say this for the megaphone. Shaw and Rummel practice on how to receive the trophy and give the trophy to the other team. They practice this, so nothing happens. So I think that can be done with all schools who are competing for state titles. But with that being said, that is a wrap for tonight. We
I
are
got
back tomorrow.
I got one question right quick.
He
I'm
had the
sorry.
finger. He had the finger. God dog it. We was in the whole show without that god
I
dog
saw it.
finger. God dog it. Yeah,
I
we
had a
got.
I had a question for George. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I think Jared, you made a great point. I think that's a moment of, this another moment is like picking up for your brother.
yeah.
Meaning if he's got emotional, somebody else need to be with him, or somebody else just like just be right there with him and be like, hey, let's go get the trophy together. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. So that everybody can go get it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody need to be with that person instead of just him going by himself. But George, I got a question. I was curious about this. You said if this 1 through 5 come back together and Lafayette Christian is in 2, you said there will not get back to the state championship, and I just want to hear your reason on it. That's all. I just want to hear your reason.
That's easy. Number 7 ain't there next year. And I want to see who comes in. I don't think this is a plug and play school. Not yet. They have lost to the same team a lot. And I feel like I don't know what the landscape's going to be like if we go back to reunite 1 through 5. But there's some legit entities. Oak Grove could be a team that's bringing a lot of people back that might bust them. Somebody like that. Maybe. I mean, it's not going to be St. Charles because they'll be. I mean, look, it's all speculative, but just on the surface, until we see the landscape get shaken out in January, I think I could give you a more definitive answer. But based on what I see now, Jawan Johnson ain't coming through the doors next year in 2024. He'll be in Baton Rouge, not at Lafayette Christian. And that, to me, Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, that is a huge piece to replace. And I'm not sure they can, not
Huge
yet.
piece to replace. But I'm gonna tell you this: since they're moving down to Division Two Select, I'm gonna tell you right now, that team ain't beating Cary Baptist.
Who?
Yeah, Lafayette
Lafayette?
Christian. Because
Yeah.
James Simon is back.
Oh, no, they got no
James
shot.
Simon comes back. Waddell Abram comes back. Um, yeah, that team not beating Lafayette Christian. I'm sorry. So they,
I agree.
yep. Washington Christian goes to 2A. So that's still a possibility of Division 1 select or Division 2 select. Washington Christian.
And Union Parish.
Yeah, if they keep the
Hmm.
format. All right. But we're going to go ahead and end this show. Before we end the show, VK will tell us who we have coming on the show tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get a word in. Potentially, we're gonna have ESPN play-by-play for HBCU football. Tiffany Green gonna be joining us tomorrow to talk about her career, and also we'll preview the Celebration Bowl that's coming up on Saturday in Atlanta,
We did
and
that with
also this.
Tiffany.
Yes, yes, Tiffany will be calling the game. She's been calling the game last couple of years,
Okay.
and she most likely will be calling it this time. And also we'll talk about the state of HBCUs because a lot of changes going on with some of the programs, and especially with Southern University making their move today on their new head coach. So we'll definitely have her on tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have her, but that's what we're previewing and try to have tomorrow night's show.
All right. And after we speak with Tiffany Green, we'll recap the rest of the games that happened in the Superdome this past weekend. We'll get to the Catholic and Acadiana. We'll get to Ruston and Zachary also. We get to the rest of the games that we didn't speak about today. George Peppers, got any last word?
Georgia Porgy.
I'm right here. My last words is that, it's been recapping the weekend was an awesome weekend to be with you guys, and we had an amazing time. Tonight's show was great, and I love the quote bitter feud that y'all two put on just a while ago, before we had Spat on, close Spat. But looking forward to tomorrow night. And look, the Celebration Bowl, for those of you that don't know it, it's the Black College National Championship. It is Howard and I think Florida A&M, I think, are playing this weekend, correct?
Exactly.
Two programs, two programs that you don't associate as powerhouses in the black colleges. These are teams that are on the ups. Howard had been lean for some years. Florida A&M was all right when Ken Riley was their head coach back in the day, but now they're coming back and they're doing good things. It's going to be an entertaining football game, to be sure. And it's the start of bowl season too, so get your picks in. With that said, Roll Tide, they're going to get knocked out on New Year's Day. Simple as that, and that's my closing word. Good night, Alabama. Hail to the victors, baby.
Before I close this out, LSU wins 133-44. They had a 47-0 run and forced 36 turnovers to set school records in points and margin of victory.
Wow.
Jesus.
McNeese. That's what they're supposed to do. McNeese.
Good Lord.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Guys, I'm going to let you know this right now. When we end this show, I am logging off. I got to go run, do something. So I'm going to say my goodbyes to y'all now. My fellas,
All right.
I'll see y'all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And I hope you all will be back with us tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We enjoy having you all on the Hash It Out show. We're back tomorrow for VK Jones, for George Peppers. I am JB the Sports Guy. We'll see y'all tomorrow on the Hash It Out show. Y'all take care.
Hey, it's Rondre Carter, defensive back at Archbishop Shaw, and you're watching Hash It Out Show. Hey, it's Rondre.
You're watching the Hash It Out Show!
Thank you for watching the Hash It Out show.